Hello. Good evening. You may not have missed me, but I've missed you. Hallelujah. There we go. And don't adjust your screen. I got very dark this weekend. There's nothing wrong with your phone or your device. Okay? My hair is very white, but I got very dark. So therefore, let's just say I don't look the same as I did last week. It was a wonderful weekend of sun in sunny Florida. All right, chapter 22. You only have 22, 23, and 24. I'm doing 22 Tuesday, 23 Wednesday, 24 Thursday, and then, hi Lisa, and then on Friday, I am going to reread the entire table of contents so you can absorb the magnitude of what you have heard, some of you read, and some of you actually had to practice it. But I will reread on Friday night the entire table of contents, the entire 24. Won't take that long. But what you have received with my book, Committed to Love, my personal memoir, what you have achieved and gained and learned from these both books, that many of you have them both, because I know you do. I don't know where you are, but I know you have them. You should cherish these books, and if you don't have them, please do get them. And I'm not promoting it to make money. That's not where I'm coming from. I'm telling you, hi William, I'm telling you in general that in these two books, you have enough hope, faith, courage, the ability to choose how you want to end your days. You have dignity, you have pride. Yes, there's sadness. Of course there's going to be sadness. I'm talking about AIDS in 1994 and losing my husband, and I'm talking about hospice stories. I mean, it's certainly not cartoonish, but I want the big stuff. I want to speak to you all over the world, and I am. But I want the movie made of my story, this Netflix series or a streaming service and a talk show and the battery-operated toothbrushes to somebody who does the big oral care companies. That's where I'm coming from. These are a vehicle to you because you're learning from them, gaining strength through them, coping better with them. But these are a bridge to my next level of what I want and what I know God's going to have me to do. It's simple. I don't know when. I don't know who. But someone on the other end of this knows the right people to take everything I've got here and everything I'm doing to a level that they'll say, oh my gosh, she's an overnight success. No, not at 76, having been a widow for 28 years. But in general, I thought about all the different stories and the powerful people you've met, the courage. I mean, look what's going on in the news. That's true sadness, these shootings. My stories are sad, but there's always that ability to choose. There's quality of life to the end of life. I always say that. And the other thing is, if I brought out some feelings in you that you didn't think you had, or I brought out some emotions in you that you maybe didn't want to feel, if I've helped you feel and cope or get the emotions under control or realize that you're not the only one in this world suffering, but if I have taught you anything, it's write your stuff down. Put it in a diary. Remember today and do it. This story, and that was a little serious, you know me, I'll lighten it up at some point, but I really wanted to say that these two books, and they're available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold, these two books are your guidebook to getting through some of the most terrible things in life that may happen to you, and you're going to remember that story, because some of you like certain stories better. I keep saying the description grabs some of you. Some of you, though, do want to seriously go back to April. I did my book April and May. We've been doing the hospice book June into July. Do you realize the magnitude of what energy this took to do this, and that God had to want me to do it? To be here every night to do this and read these stories and know that these people had courage. I had a choice. How many of you can say that? That's my ice maker going off now, dropping cubes. In general, how many of you can say that you just want to truly have your choice to the very end of your life? No guilt, no shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Those are all negative things. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Well, you know what? What you did yesterday comes to tomorrow. Maybe. What you did yesterday makes today. What you do today makes tomorrow, hopefully. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas, they don't work. This story, I always read my chapters with my glasses on. All right, here we go. Hello, it's Susie Mintz reading her wonderful stories again. 3 more to go. Chapter 22. And I held their hands with a hospice heart. Website, SusanMintz.com. Message me, don't, and whatever you want to do, it's your choice. Yes, these are good. Chapter 22. This woman felt that she caused her husband's illness and was responsible for everything. But her feelings of guilt and anger didn't do any good, nor could it change anything. But it's natural. You're going to have every feeling and emotion that God gave you, from anger and rage to love and forgiveness. Everything. To live in life is to absolutely use every God-given emotion. This woman, I can still see her. This woman, and also with this book was a companion book. In my story, Committed to Love, it was all Jeffrey and myself. And then at the end, hospice came in. But this book is the opposite. This is hospice stories, but I can relate and give you more information. Now, in the beginning of this one, you'll know more about me. So these were always meant to kind of go together. Well, they do go together. It's not like they were meant to go together. They do go together. All right, so this woman felt responsible for her husband's illness, had a lot of anger and guilt, rage, but wouldn't change anything. She believed she absolutely caused it, was responsible, but what good did that do? That's going to change the outcome. No. Now I should put on the serious glasses. Oh my God, I'm dark. I feel so good though. I love the sun and it loves me. It's God's light bulb. All right, here we go. Listen to this quote. Illnesses happen, but diseases are spread. I don't remember writing a lot of this. Honest to God, I don't, but I did. It's my board. Illnesses happen, but diseases are spread. I hope you wrote. If you don't go back through my Facebook page or go to my website and see where Committed to Love is already uploaded, and hospice will be under the Hospice Heart book. That'll be uploaded when I'm done, or my YouTube channel. But if you don't write a lot of this down or go over it again in your head, you're missing out on so much. And I'm just doing it because I'm really being honest. I wish someone was able to give me all this information that these 48 chapters did. March 2000. Illnesses happen, but diseases are spread. Story about a woman who had a lot of guilt and anger. March 2000, dear Jeff. Here's a little memory lane. We met in the 5th grade when I walked by you and you said, I like your bobby socks. For those of you who don't know what those are, they're just bobby socks, ankle socks. We grew up with them. Our relationship, that was in 5th grade. We were 11 years old, and I moved to another part of town, was put in a new school, in a new class, with a new teacher, and nobody I knew. We met in 5th grade when I walked by you, and you said, I like your bobby socks. Our relationship continued to go and grow for 36 more years. Throughout high school, college, and into our married life, it was our ability to communicate, laugh, and have fun that kept us together. A little bit later on, financial kicked in, but it was our ability to communicate, laugh, and have fun that kept us together. But as you know, it wasn't all that, and you do know that. When I was being stubborn, guilty. Moody, guilty. Causing trouble, this made you laugh. That's a psychologist. So disturbed, I was his thesis. When I told you I hated school, authority, taking orders, so guilty. You called that independence. See, he had a way of making my brain work okay. When I was 16, you called me independent. When I hated school, authority, and taking orders. When I irritated and provoked people, guilty. You found my behavior interesting and unique. When I was 16 and ran away from home with Linda Ginsburg, I don't know where she is now, if she's even alive. When I was 16 and ran away from home, you said I was adventurous. Oh, I was a terrible child, terrible teenager, terrible. When I told you that I hated my life, you listened. You said, Susan, your terrible behavior is because you're angry, guilty, frustrated, guilty, and disappointed. Guilty as charged. All of it. I'm much better than I used to be, but there's a lot of me still in there. You're a young girl trapped in an adult mind and dreams. A child trapped in an adult's mind. It would be easier to harness the wind, I always said, than to try to control you. Yep. We loved it. You liked me, saw my potential, and I loved you for that. My disruptive antics may have given my family much aggravation and many sleepless nights, but thankfully, it never made them seriously ill. You and I had such different personalities. You never wanted to cause any disturbances or problems. You hated arguments, confrontation, turmoil, and would not have harmed another human being. Yet, it was you who ended up hurting those you loved, and those you loved who loved you the most. You never wanted to cause my disturbances or problems. You hated arguments, confrontations, the exact opposite of me. You wouldn't have harmed a fly. Yet it was you, Jeff, who ended up hurting those you loved and those who loved you the most. Yes. How much guilt, and we all have guilt at some point. If you say you've never had guilt, you're not alive. Guilt is natural once in a while. Lord knows, I get it a lot, but not as much. But guilt is real. It's real. There's always going to be guilt in your life about something. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas. How much guilt does someone have to get them to believe that they are capable of willing someone into getting sick? Is this self-motivational mutilation a form of punishment for not being able to deal with their own unresolved issues? It's kind of deep. How much guilt this is such a deep chapter. How much guilt, and I ask a lot of questions. When I start reading my book all over again, I'm going to ask you a lot because I want you to think. This is it. How much guilt does someone have to get them to believe that they were capable of willing someone to get sick? Is this self-motivational mutilation a form of punishment for not being able to deal with their own unresolved issues? Why would anyone want to mentally torture themselves by thinking this way? Are their feelings too painful to acknowledge and even more unbearable to deal with? Are there in their own being that they fail to notice their own red flags and warning signals along the way? Could something ignite their feelings? It reconnected. Could something ignite their feelings and put them on a collision course Could something happen causing an explosion of rage, anger, blame, and guilt so out of control that it was impossible to stop? That's what we're dealing with now with the shootings and the mental health issues, anger and rage, and people don't know what to do with it. I'm telling you to write. That's about as simple as it can be. Could something happen causing an explosion of rage, anger, blame, and guilt so out of control that it was impossible to stop? This story is about a woman who blamed herself for her husband's worsening condition and how her feelings of guilt and anger nearly cost her whatever time she had left with him. The care center was quiet last night. I watched as a woman wandered nervously around the waiting area. She reminded me of a caged animal pacing back and forth, anxiously anticipating something to happen. I went over and said, "My name is Susan. I'm a volunteer. Is there anything I can get you?" Her stare was cold and blank. She peered through me, seemingly unaware of my presence or what I had said. Moments later, she said, "I brought my husband into the care center tonight, and it's all my fault. I thought that I was prepared for this, but I'm not. I never thought that I could feel such rage. I want to explode and take everyone with me." That is what's happening out in that world right now where we're living. She started to cry, and her body was heaving and shaking uncontrollably. She was emotionally exhausted. I said, "Please sit down with me. The nurses are tending to your husband. They'll come and get you in a little while. Take this time for yourself. If you don't get yourself together, you won't be able to help your husband." She fell into the couch crying hysterically. She was overwhelmed and needed to talk to someone. I said, "My husband was ill for a long time too. I can empathize with your sadness and frustration. It's difficult to see your husband here. If you want to be alone, I understand. But if you want to yell, scream, punch, or kick me, I can take it. I like a good smack once in a while. Just do it." I'm surprised I never did ever get hit. As many things as I've said and done, I'm surprised no one ever whacked me. So I said, "My husband was ill for a long time. It's difficult to see you like this. If you want to be alone, I understand. But if you want to yell, scream, punch, or kick me, I can take it. I like a good smack once in a while. Just do it." She burst out laughing and said, "I don't want to hit you, but I might throw myself in front of a train." I'm not laughing because of that. I'm just laughing because boy, I interact with people as I can take a very serious subject and make it not so bad. I said, "Would you like to talk about it? I've got time and I'd like to be here for you now. The center is a good place to talk about your feelings." She said, this is interesting now, "This is my fault. I did this to him. I hate myself for it. I can't control my anger or my rage any longer. I pressured my husband into moving to Florida. I was a teacher and he was an accountant. He loved his work. I'd been nagging him for years to leave New York, buy a smaller home, and move where it was warmer. I wanted a different life while we could still have it. We're both 58 years old. Our 2 children are grown and have their own families. After 30 years, we sold our beautiful house, left our jobs, our family and friends." She started crying again and walked away. A few minutes later, she came back and said, "We moved here 6 months ago. He only made this move to make me happy. My husband has had Parkinson's disease for 4 years. He's done very well in the disease, but the disease has slowly progressed. He has had Parkinson's for 4 years. He had done very well, but the disease has progressed slowly. He also had chronic ulcerative colitis for years. Sometimes his attacks were debilitating, but he always got better, and most of the time he did whatever he wanted to do. We trusted his doctors, and we always got the best care. When I look back now, I realize that he was getting worse. I should have Shoulda. The should-haves. She said, I should have seen the warning signals he was giving me. I was selfish and didn't want to notice what was happening to him. We should have stayed there. I should have known better. Just with her words, you can tell she's got such deep feelings of guilt and anger. All her should-haves in just that little bit. When we moved into the new house, we didn't know the area or anyone in it. We didn't know anything. We never asked our physicians in New York to refer us to a local doctor. I thought we'd do that once we got settled. We were in our home for 1 month when he had an acute ulcerative colitis attack. We were in our home in Florida now 1 month when he had an acute ulcerative colitis attack. He was rushed to the hospital, hemorrhaging in critical condition. Within 2 weeks, his Parkinson's worsened. 1 week later, he developed pancreatitis. Now he was too ill to take up north. We went to several doctors in different hospitals, to rehab centers, and now hospice. I made all the wrong choices about everything. Why didn't I want to see it? 6 months ago, I moved here looking for a new life. This was not what I expected. She couldn't control her anger and stormed out into the courtyard. She kicked and punched the tree several times until she had no energy left. She leaned against the bark, weeping from exhaustion. Which gets to me. No, we may run a little over, but I waited till 5:30. I didn't go after her as I thought she needed to be alone. When she came in, she said, "It's my guilt that's killing me." Guilt will kill you. Guilt is a cancer. Guilt is just like that. It's the guilt that's killing me. I said, "Why is your husband in the hospice program?" She said his pain was excruciating and his doctors couldn't stabilize him. He was bleeding rectally and his pancreatitis wouldn't improve. He couldn't eat or drink and lost 35 pounds within weeks. He couldn't control his movements or get up. Parkinson's is a cruel disease. The doctors said they couldn't do anything else and recommended hospice. Everything happened so quickly. All I want now is to take him home. That's what he wants too. I said, you made the choices that you thought were best at the time. Hindsight doesn't work and the guilt will destroy you. Focus all your energy and attention now on your husband while you still have some time. Make him your priority, and please forgive me for saying this, but your husband could have also said no with a big capital N-O. You didn't cause your husband's illnesses, and you didn't put him here. I hope that you'll be kinder to yourself. What do I always say? Cut yourself some slack and be a little kinder. She said, I have other issues that I've never dealt with and many reasons to feel guilty. I'll try to focus on my husband and we'll get back into our new home. That's what we both need. It's going to take me a long time to honestly face myself and deal with my unfinished emotional business. Can I have some amens from the congregation? With that, the nurse came and told her that she could see her husband now because the nurses were getting him ready. She thanked me and said good night. Her husband went home a week later. Many people want to blame their problems on someone or something else than natural. When things don't turn out the way they wanted them to, or if the results aren't what they'd expected, why not make somebody else responsible for the future? That's a cop-out and it's easy. Feels good to take the responsibility off your shoulders and place it on someone else's. But feeling responsible and being responsible are different matters. But feeling responsible and being responsible are different matters. This woman didn't want to blame anybody else but herself for her problems. Hi, Shirley. She wanted to be responsible for everything bad that had happened, including her husband's condition. Using phrases like should have, could have, and would have. I told you this before I even read this chapter. I've never read this chapter before. I've never read this book before, other than when I edited it 20-some-odd years ago. I've never done this. Her husband, so using phrases like should have, could have, and would have only reinforced how negative and guilty she felt about herself and her decisions. Her husband's medical crisis helped to bring out unresolved past issues that she hadn't wanted to deal with. Unless she rids herself of this self-motivational mutilation, I call it self-motivational mutilation. That's a term you don't hear on TV, even from the therapists. Start using that on TV more, you therapists and psychologists. Remember the lady here in Boca who said, self-emotional mutilation. She will never be happy. She must now spend her remaining time with her husband and make things better for the both of them. She'll never know if this might have happened, even if they hadn't moved, because this might have been an unfortunate coincidence. You can give someone a headache, guilty, an ulcer, guilty, or high blood pressure, guilty, but you can't give another person cancer, heart disease, or diabetes. You can develop a medical problem because of diet, lifestyle, and stress, but you can't think someone into developing a life-threatening illness. You can cause suffering and bring pain to someone, but you can't will a person into illness or death. As in our case, someone did give you a sexually transmitted disease, and it was the HIV virus and AIDS that took your life. But it still was the disease that killed you, not the person. I could have blamed you so many times for your death because of your promiscuity, but I could not save you from it. The only thing I could do was make a choice, and that choice saved my life. That's the second chapter about celibacy in my book. When I redo my book, when I reread it, you're going to get a whole different perspective of what I'm talking about, because I've got these 24 people to depend on. Here we go. The disease because of your promiscuity, but I could not save you from it. The only thing I could do was make a choice, and that choice saved my life. You allowed this virus into your body, but I did not allow it into mine. See? Choice. Your life was the responsibility. Your life was your responsibility, and your death didn't have to happen. It didn't. To this day, I will not take the guilt upon myself that I had in any way been responsible for what happened to you. Your life was your responsibility, Jeffrey, and your death didn't have to happen. It's a choice. And I accepted it the way it was. But I let you be who you wanted to be, and we both had to accept the terrible consequences of those choices. Being married to you for 25 years and going on without you were both difficult things to do. But I dealt with your disease, and I survived your death. I accept the decisions I've made. I have no regrets. Believe nothing in life is a mistake. I don't like that word. No. Nothing in life is a mistake, but that everything happens for a reason. However, when I say not a mistake, sometimes your choices might not be the best. Not a mistake. Your choices may not have been the best. I will not use that word mistake. That was in school. That was a mistake. It just might take a little while to know what that reason is. 5 years later, I know that your death opened up a door for me. I didn't know whether to walk through that door or walk away. I chose to walk through, and on the other side of this door was my writing. God bless the writers, the authors. God bless them. We make the stories real. The stories that can save your life and give you hope and faith and courage. Thank God for the writers. Write. If you can write your name, you can write. Beautiful. Miss you. Good, me too. I miss me too a lot of times. Let me do this. I just might take a little while to know for a reason. 5 years later, I know that your death opened up a door for me. I didn't know whether to walk through it or to walk away. I chose to walk through it. On the other side of that door was my writing. These stories are the product of your tragic death, and the issues I faced have become my therapy. Thank you for opening up a door for me and for giving me the courage and strength to believe in myself. Well, I'll say so long for a little while. I love you, Susan. What'd you get out of that one, kids? Anybody take anything away? Am I preaching to the choir? No, I don't preach. I'm teaching. I'm speaking to the world about issues, emotions, and feelings, but I'm not telling you everything you do is your choice. Nope. Unless you're shackled and handcuffed and your mouth is closed and your ears and everything else is abused and shut down, you got choices. Make them. Don't make mistakes, just make better choices. All right? I think this was a powerful story. I didn't realize that because I said I never read my stuff. It's amazing. So tomorrow night, folks, we are going to do chapter 23. And I saved the very, very last one to be the sealer of the deal. The last chapter, every single one of you might go through this, and I hope you don't. God bless you all. Shalom, hello. Yeah, please, I did get very dark. Shalom, hello. Shalom, goodbye, and shalom, peace. Have some peace tonight. And cut yourself some slack. Be a little more patient. Be kinder. If you got anger and rage issues and you got all sorts of stuff going on, right, and you may not even like typing on your computer, may not give you the same feel. I had computers for 20 years. I write to this day. I write notes. I have to write. I don't trust even iPads or tablets or computers. I trust them when I need them to transpose my journals. Yes, I did, but I write. I write this like today down. This was wonderful. I just connected with someone that I hadn't seen in so long, but she heard about what I'm doing. I have a wonderful friend named Lisa who I've never met. She's a president of my fan club. I have a fan club with no fans. Hi, Lucy. Lisa has been given the title of fan club president. And she's also looking out to me to get someone in the oral health field to help me buy my battery-operated toothbrushes. What a campaign. So go to SusanMintz.com, check out HIV and oral health, and check out my books. And just, I love you, all of you, who have stayed with me since April. And we're going to be doing my book again, differently though. I'm going to really dive into asking you questions, because I do love that you feel. I love the fact that some of you can't handle this, but it's good. Some of you can't handle this book. It's fine. Some of you can't handle your life either. No matter what you want to do. I don't do science fiction. I do life stories. God bless you all. And I think I said it. Let me finish. And that's it. Tomorrow night, I hit it to 5:30 tonight. I did it.